Is intermittent fasting superior to other diets for weight loss? Well, according to this meta-analysis I've been getting a lot of messages about, covering 40 different studies comparing intermittent fasting to other weight loss diets, it's not. In fact, the conclusion to this study is intermittent fasting thus represents a valid but not superior option to continuous energy restriction for weight loss. So inside this video, I'm going to talk about why this meta-analysis does not cover the key physiological and psychological benefits that intermittent fasting provides outside of weight loss. Hey everybody, Coach Sean, the Rip Grandpa, and over the last decade, I've probably done at least a dozen videos on intermittent fasting because I am a believer and an advocate. I used it last October when I was 50 years old to take my body fat below 5%. I've used it for the last decade to get ready for several photo shoots. So yes, it can and does work. Now, with that being said, I'll be the first one to admit it's not superior to other diets when it comes to weight loss. At the end of the day, all that matters is the dynamic duo. You must keep your body in a calorie deficit and you must get adequate protein intake. At the end of the day, if you took you and your twin, you both consumed the same amount of calories each day, you both burned the same amount of calories each day, you both had the same activity level. If your twin consumed more protein, your twin would win. Your twin would have a faster metabolism, your twin would lose more weight, and your twin would lose less muscle. And there's dozens of studies showing this, that when all things are created equal, that person who consumes the most protein will win the weight loss battle. That's why protein's the king of all macros. So you must keep your body in a deficit and you must get adequate protein intake. Now, with all that being said, I personally believe there are key physiological and psychological benefits to intermittent fasting, making it superior to other weight loss methods for the number one reason that people fail on a diet, and that is adherence. So the number one reason people fail when they follow a diet is they can't adhere to the diet. That's why I always tell people it doesn't matter what diet you follow, the best diet is one you can stick to. This is why I love intermittent fasting. It's really not a diet per se, it's more of a lifestyle, and I think it can help you with certain psychological and physical benefits that go way beyond weight loss. And the first one is called hormonal entrainment. And there's been some research studies showing that people who focus solely on hormones actually can get better results than those who focus on just a calories in, calories out approach. Now, this is only one study that was done, so it's not conclusive, but I would argue that when you get control of certain hormones like insulin and ghrelin, that you eliminate your emotional attachment to eating and you eliminate the death of every diet: hunger and craving. So by picking 5 days per week where you have a set feeding and fasting window, and you simply end your fast and you break your fast the next day, close to the same time, you start training your hunger hormone ghrelin, and you simply will not get hungry until it's time to break your fast in the afternoon. Now, the first week, you might experience some hunger and cravings. My recommendation is that this is most likely just a little dehydration, and if you drink adequate water, this is gonna go away. And also, if you can just push through the first week of intermittent fasting, I think you'll find that all of a sudden you just simply do not get hungry because you have better control of ghrelin. And let's face it, the death of every diet is hunger and cravings. So that is the first reason why I'm a fan and an advocate of intermittent fasting. Although it's not for everybody, it helps you get control of ghrelin. The second reason I'm a huge fan of intermittent fasting is because it helps you get control of insulin. And obviously insulin is known as a storage hormone. Now, there's conflicting evidence about whether or not controlling insulin really contributes to weight loss. There was one study where they gave dieters a peptide that forced their pancreas to release insulin. And they put these dieters into two groups. The one group took the peptide, the other group didn't. And at the end of the day, when they consumed the same calories and had the same activity level, they both lost the same amount of weight. Now, with that being said, this doesn't take into consideration other things, because erratic insulin levels can lead to energy fluctuations that take your mental and physical energy up and down like a roller coaster. And also over time, this can potentially lead to other diseases like diabetes. So getting control of insulin, which helps you control your blood sugar, is in your best interest. Well, if you're using an intermittent fasting protocol, during this entire window while you're fasting, you have complete control of blood sugar and insulin. Okay, I just got interrupted by my grandkids. I haven't seen them for 2 weeks because I was on vacation in South Africa, so I had to jump in the pool and go swimming with my granddaughters, and I'm back put on my hat here to finish this out. Back to talking about insulin. Remember, during the fasted window, because insulin is so stable, this controls blood sugar. So during the fasted window, your body releases more of a hormone called glucagon. Now, glucagon is known as the blood sugar hormone because it's responsible for releasing fatty acids from stored fat cells into the bloodstream, where they can be used as energy. So during the fasted window, because you are way more likely to release glucagon, your chances of using stored fat cells during the fasted window as a fuel source are much, much higher. Now, going back to the dynamic duo, at the end of the day, this really won't matter as long as you have a deficit and you have adequate protein intake. However, with that being said, hormonal entrainment plays a huge role in our ability to adhere to a diet. So I want to end this video by talking about a couple other hormones and the final and most important reason why I think this meta-analysis can be a little misleading. So the last thing is that during a fasted window, because you are fasting and not eating, your body's sympathetic nervous system is activated. So it's your body's fight or flight response, and it kicks up really high. And research shows that when your SNS is activated, you increase focus and mental clarity and energy, and your chances of releasing growth hormone are greatly enhanced. Now, whether or not this contributes to overall weight loss, we do not know, but we do know that releasing growth hormone has other benefits outside of weight loss. Lastly, and I think this is most important of all this stuff on intermittent fasting, after 10 plus years of using it, knowing that no, it's not the be all end all, it's not for everybody, it just simply helps you eat less in an easier fashion. And if you can eat less without hunger and cravings, without suffering, without deprivation, then you're much more likely to adhere to your diet. So although intermittent fasting in the meta-analysis is not superior, at the end of the day, if you took me and my twin woke up and consumed all his macros in the first 4 hours of the day, and I fasted 18, 20 hours and ate all my food in a 4-hour window, at the end of the day, if our macros were the same, our calorie intake was the same, and our activity level was the same, we'd get the same results. However, he would suffer a lot more than me because I think he would be a lot hungrier later in the day. And I don't think he'd have the hormonal entrainment. And at the end of the day, it comes down to our behaviors. And I really think that intermittent fasting is the easiest way to help us control our behaviors and control our emotional attachment to eating, because we simply make it easier to eat less. When you have a fasting window where you're not eating any food, and then a fed window, as long as you don't binge and overeat and you hit your macros 4 or 5 days per week, I think you're gonna find it much easier to stay on track. And I discovered this, and that's why I've used it for the last decade. For the decade before that, I stayed in the same exact shape that I am. So the first 10 years of my career, I stayed just as lean as I did the second 10 years of my career. However, the second 10 years of my career, I all of a sudden got married, had 3 more kids, now we have 10 grandkids, and life is a lot more hectic. I don't have the time just to focus on just my diet exercise anymore because my family comes first. So intermittent fasting has really helped me adhere to a diet when life happens. And at the end of the day, that's ultimately all that matters. The best diet is one that you can adhere to. So if intermittent fasting helps that, why would we not experiment with it and use it as part of our lifestyle? And that's all I got for you today. Now, before I close this out, I just want to share one more thing. One of the biggest struggles that people have when they're trying to get in shape is simply staying on track because they don't have help. They try to do it all on their own. They watch YouTube videos, they Google stuff, and they think they can just follow a certain plan and get certain results because they don't have support. They don't have help. So in the comment section below or in the description below, you're gonna see a link where you can schedule a free coaching call with me or my team. And you can jump on a call, we can go over your goals, and we can talk about how to customize a plan for you. Is intermittent fasting right for you or is it not? Well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna set up a plan that, guess what, you can adhere to. Remember, it does not matter what plan you follow if you can't stick to it. And we're gonna help you stick to it. So schedule your coaching call below. Thanks for watching and God bless.